Need some coins? MMO EXP. Yes, they are real. No, they aren't instant. No one is. But they are reliable and the cheapest around. Use code SCOMO for 5% off. Get you some coins, stack your team, get those dubs, boys. Yay! Yo, what's going on, guys? We are back breaking down Madden. We got Gutfox on us on the show with us today, man. I greatly do appreciate you, man.
Oh yeah, no problem at all. Thanks for having me on. It's should be a blast.
It's been fun doing it. I've been seeing the comments. Like, even when I posted out the picture, you know, I thought I was going to get all this hype for Throne. And I think I've gotten more comments and more tweets that everyone is more excited about the Fox here today. So
okay, you don't have to butter me up like that. I mean, I'm already here, right? You don't have to pamper me like that. Throne is like, the level above. That guy is like Midas's touch to Madden content. He is gold. So to put me on that level, you're really trying to get my pants here.
Hey, I'm here to gas you up. You know, I know. I'm just trying to get the feet pics. I know. Everyone wanted to see the feet pics. I'm just trying to get the feet pics.
All right.
But no, I greatly do appreciate you coming by, man. You just came off a really, really good year, really great year for yourself, especially with the stream. I think you probably had the #1 stream, I would say, on Twitch consistently. The most people in your room, #1 person. I would like to say I was pretty much #1 most of the time, and then you would go live, and I'd probably go to 2. But I feel like you did. No, you had a very, very, very good year, man. We talked about earlier. This was your second year of basically going full time, quitting your other job, and basically being the Gutfox of full time. But
yeah.
What is your plans? What are we gonna be doing? How are we looking for this next year? We got like 8 days, bro. Like, what's your plans?
Yeah. You talk about, like we talked about earlier, but like people don't know, we basically had a podcast before this podcast, or whatever you call the interview. Like we already talked forever about. So like, yeah, there's a lot of stuff we talked about, a lot of risky stuff, more feed picks, but like I think like content for 21, it's gonna remain pretty similar to 20 with some minor tweaks. Like, I think overall, for me, over the last, 5 years since Madden 15 or something that I've been doing this, I think it's just been a slow, steady growth. So obviously everybody wants to blow up, right? Like the main goal for all content creators to blow up and act like you don't know nobody, right? It's to kind of go Hollywood, but like, I've been basically, I gain the same amount every year. It's very steady, and I haven't seen that explosive growth like a lot of other people have. But that's kind of what I'm gonna try and continue to do. Really, like I know the slow and steady, tortoise wins the race. But it would be nice to get like a rocket up my ass for a little bit here in 21 and kind of get that explosive growth, because that just makes you feel better and juice you up like you're trying to do to your ego, right? Oh, people appreciate my content, and people are like watching it like, wow, telling their friends. Google is recommending it to people because I put out compelling content. So me not seeing that explosive growth really at all since I've been doing this, kind of basically the same like 10 to 20,000 sub growth every year. It is in the end sort of frustrating, but I don't know what to change. Like, I had the second channel for stream highlights, and now a lot of other creators are doing that, and I'm like, well, it's working. Like we talk about Throne, his second channel, just stream highlights and gameplay, is like doing way better than my main channel even. So like that guy's fucking Midas, like we talked about, and I love him. But so I don't know what to do. And you and I talked a little about before this about things, and obviously I'm always trying to change the meta up of the channel. Going with the coin sponsor stuff this year, because
and I'm super excited. I'm gonna say it right here. Congratulations on taking that coin sponsor, and I feel like once again that's gonna be your next step. That's gonna be the extra thing. Sometimes you need a little extra help. Now you got a little extra help to be able to take the stuff to the next level.
Yeah, and so putting money into things sometimes makes it better. So that's what I said during the videos. I hope to, and I've already hired a couple guys in the community to help out with some stuff, editing and whatnot. But like that, I hope could help a little bit. But really, I don't expect it to grow the channel dramatically, like, right, doing tournaments and stuff. And I've seen tournaments on Twitch and stuff that people run. I'm like, it's okay, I guess. They don't really get a lot of extra viewership or anything like that. So we'll see what it adds to it, but I'm definitely going to try.
And I mean, that's basically all this is. And I mean, like you said it though too, there's been so many people that have come into this community or come into like YouTube, and they've tried, and maybe they've had more success than us, but then they're not even doing it anymore. And the fact that you're still here, the fact that you're still making the content, the fact that you were able to leave your job and still have success and still be good, and now you got the other sponsors and stuff like that. Like, I talked about it on a few other Breaking Down Maddens. People do the tier list, right? You see all these YouTubers doing tier lists, and they talk about, oh, this guy uploads daily, he edits his videos, he's got good zoom effects, all this stuff, and they put you up in the S tier. I don't rate people that way. I rate people on, were they successful? And you were an S tier successful person in Madden 20 because of everything that you did that year and where you put yourself in the position for this year. And that's about what any work is, what you can do at that point, and then where you can put yourself for when you're done with that job. And you put yourself in a spot to now get a coin sponsorship. You could have had one before, but now you took one now because obviously, I'll say it was good money. And now you've put yourself in a spot again. Like, I'll tell you one thing. People are looking forward to W streams of Weekend League, me ripping packs in the morning, and Gut Fox screaming at people in the afternoon. Like, those would be the things that bring people to Madden on Twitch that they thought about last year. And you progress that a little bit more, you're gonna be really, really good. So you putting in that effort, you putting in a little bit better thumbnails. We talked to Zerk about the better thumbnails and all that kind of stuff. Like, you just got to do it all. Like, you're definitely the person that will come out with the method, the glitch, the loophole was the big word last year, and you do a good job on that. And the people that know about Gut Fox love Gut Fox. Everyone says you got the cult following. The thumbnails and some of that extra stuff, you getting that extra point and doing these extra things, I think you're going to get a way bigger. You're talking about the increase, only the 10, 20,000 subscribers. I think you can get 40 this year. I really do, by just doing a few of those extra things and getting that big jump. We're going to both hang a plaque on the wall this year. Okay, we're going to get it. Look at your wall back there. You got a perfect spot. We can literally put it anywhere back there right now.
I like living a Spartan lifestyle.
I gotcha. But, okay, so before we get into 21, I've been asking everyone this because this is kind of like always the retro thing. When we look back at this year, and not as of right now, but when you think about this game as a whole, when you look back at it 5 years now, what are going to be your biggest takeaways, positive and negative, from Madden 20?
Like, obviously, the first thing that sticks out is the horrible balance issues with abilities and what they kind of did to the game. But the problem is, like, the game, I don't even think the abilities would have, like, if you get rid of abilities, it wouldn't have made the game any better, right? Like, the meta ended up being something that really didn't have any basis around abilities outside of rollout corners, right? Stretch and dive are still powerful and would still be the meta and still be like the worst thing on the game without any abilities, right? Did you need lineman abilities? Did you need the running back abilities? No, people ran stretch and dive without that stuff and were successful. Obviously, abilities made it a little bit more successful. But, like, on defense, then you could have abilities for enforcer, secure tackle, that kind of stuff, unfakeable, whatnot. So, like, overall, obviously, the thing that sticks out about 20 is the, they haven't been introduced, but, like, the introduction of high-power, game-changing abilities, just, and so many of them, and the ability to kind of, like, switch. Like, and the tough thing is, like, do we remember 18 for secure tackler, which basically became, like, everybody's defense? You know what? After the spin got patched in 18 around like December-ish, like, because it basically made two-hand touch football. Mm-hmm. No, we remember 18 because of 91 zone and C routes and throw on break and that kind of stuff. Even though 18 had horrible, like, the Hail Mary glitch and whatnot with target passing. Mm-hmm. So, like, I don't know. 20, if I look back on it, what will I remember? I guess it's mostly the run game, and I think that's gonna be what we think of when we think of 20. And I think more than that, the biggest issue was their inability to balance the game, right? I think 20 was the first year we saw them say, hey, fuck this job, right? I think it was like, we've seen them be lazy in the past, right? Like 18, 19's offseason content wasn't great. And obviously the gameplay team's different than the MUT team. But, like, as a whole, the company, EA, basically said, all right, you know what? I don't feel like doing my job after we launch. And it had some patches, don't get me wrong, they patched some stuff, but, like, in previous years, like, when we saw contain blitzes overpowered, we saw it both in 17 and 18, 18, 19. 17 was nickel blitz, which they didn't really touch all year, but it's like, so, like, 18, 19, when we had contain blitzes, they touched them.
19 was crazy with the contain blitz, yeah.
They didn't touch them in 20, and contain blitzes were the meta all year. In 21, they've nerfed them again. So we'll hopefully see a better 21 with that kind of, tackles don't recognize blitzing DBs. So that's what I'm going to kind of think about with 20 is their inability to do their job and, touch up their game because they're so afraid of themselves. It's amazing to me that like, all right, we'll create the game and we'll put it out, but like, oh my God, I don't trust my coding enough to put in patches. It's so weird because we see games like Fortnite, well-run companies put out these things on a bi-weekly basis, and they're like, hey, you know what? Let's do it, because then if we screw up, we can patch it again quickly. And Madden and EA just can't seem to do that because we get glitches when they do patches and they don't feel like fixing it super quickly. Like I guess the fall forward glitch was the last one that we saw that got introduced that got fixed quickly. So in some sense, yes and no, but I think 20, their overall laziness with both content and gameplay through the year is probably my final takeaway from it.
I gotcha. So that's pretty much everyone's consensus. You're now episode 5 of this series. And pretty much everyone has said the same thing. We've had a few different opinions on the content. I feel like content at a point had really, really good spikes. Was kind of got lackluster with the flashbacks and stuff kind of at the beginning, but then spiked really good for kind of like Christmas and Thanksgiving and a little bit after that for a minute, and then it just completely crashed off again off the table. But with now that being said,
well, one more thing with content, it is amazing. Like in two like Madden split into 2 years, right? Pre Super Bowl, post Super Bowl, or post like theme builders, whatever it was, right after that, February, March. But like pre that time, I thought 20 was fantastic for content, right? The only issue I had was a lot of content came out that was irrelevant, right? Everybody praises MLB because they keep putting out relevant content to teams. And Madden actually puts out more content than MLB. The problem is they're putting out like 85 overall or like 88 overall flashbacks when the Legends are like 92. Right. And you're like, well, I can't really use this. Why would you create it? And they're like, well, what about people building their team right now? Well, they can just use old cards because they're new to them. Right? I just don't understand why they also can't make current day players relevant versus Legends. And they haven't for a while, right? Why are the best wide receivers, quarterbacks always the same people? Although I say Lamar is pretty close to Vic now, so that's maybe quarterback's not a great example.
No, I mean, no, absolutely. And I think that's where a lot of people, everyone wants more relative content. We would be towards the end of the year, the promo would drop and we would still get new 85s. It was like, why are we in like February, March, and like
veterans,
getting still like new 85s, 86 overalls? Like no one's using this stuff, so like no, 100%.
Only excuse is like for sets, right? I'm fine with low overall cards that go into sets, and that's totally fine. But like flashback heavyweight veterans, that shit should be balanced, especially team of the week. I'm pretty pissed that team of the week's irrelevant versus Legends.
Everyone's worried about that. If we don't have the NFL, what's gonna happen to Mutt? I'm like, nothing. When have they integrated the NFL like into Mutt that we actually like the stuff? Like, what are we talking about here? Like, anyone watch the game and be like, damn, can't wait to use that card tomorrow? Like, what are we talking about? Like, no, like that never happens. Like that never happens. Yeah. So I guess that with now that being said, the run game and different stuff, and I mean with Madden 21, we are 8 days away. What are your hopes and your dreams you are a very realistic person. What do you think this next step is going to be for Madden 21?
Like, what do you mean by next step? Like how they take it to the next level, or what do you mean?
What do you think we're going to get out of a game for 21? Do you think we're going to get a better game? Do you think we're going to get the same game? Do you think we're going to get lesser of a game? Where do you think they're going to try to turn the direction? Do you think we'll try to make it more passing heavy? Where do you think the direction of the game is going to go? Do you think they'll look at the MCS and be like, the no quarterback one every single time, we got to do this? Do you think them slowing down the user is going to change all that? Like, where do you think the game is going to be going?
Oh yeah, 100% the meta is going to be different in 21, right? They always change that year to year, which is it always when I see that Spider-Man meme of all the Maddens like pointing at each other from like 13 to 19 or 20, I'm like, that's not true. I mean, can you imagine thinking Madden 13, 25, 15 is anywhere near how 20 plays on the field? It's not even close. Right. So like a lot of people, when I see that, I see a lot of casual players, and I don't like to shit on casual players, but it's frustrating because I'm like, well, did you play and remember the metas? Well, if you only play franchise mode, absolutely correct. Franchise mode doesn't change, and we shit on it from here to Hong Kong, and we're accurate. And it's frustrating that it hasn't changed. But like with 21, I think it's going to be a better game, right? I haven't played a Madden where the game is worse than the year before. Now I know that's a controversial statement, but like I totally think 20 was better than 19, 19 better than 18. The only one that I could say was a downgrade was 17 over 16. I know that's a controversial opinion because some people like get in a circle and jerk each other off because of how good Madden 17 was in their mind, but it was basically all nickel blitz spam and gun bunch all year long where you couldn't block nickel blitz because it didn't have the blocking adjustment. So like even so, 17 I thought was a solid I like almost side grade over 16 in my opinion for overall fun factor because we lost dime flat and stuff from 16 going to 17. But like 21, I 100% agree with their track record. With what I played in the beta, I would say the beta played less fun than 20 because of the lack of user. But some of us were able to hack back into the beta through the method of partially downloading it and playing it on that new patch. And I will say the user did get a little bit better. So I think 21 and the thing about 21 and 20 was not a bad game. 20 was a bad game because they ended up fucking up with the meta and not changing and balancing their game through the year. But like if 21 and they have a commitment to that, I think it'll be better. And I think the gameplay and the steps they've changed and the things that they listened to and fixed, like now our corners can drop back to 30 yards to stop the corner routes. Our dashing deadeye, you can't just roll out and throw it 80 yards on a dot. They've listened to a lot of our complaints, and sure, they haven't fixed them all. But if they can keep working on that, I do think 21 will be better than 20. But of course, I'm saying this prior to seeing what the meta settles out to be, how it ends up getting balanced, how they end up fixing and changing the game. So like, that's my thoughts on it. I am hopeful for 21 as it's always better, and especially the start of the year, it's always better than what we just finished playing.
I'm going to ask the same question that I've asked the previous 4 people, and no one has been able to give me an answer yet. And this is my one hardball for you.
Okay, let me see it.
If there was one thing that you could add to the game and be like, this will make the game more fun for everyone playing the game, what would be that one thing that you would definitely change to make the game better for everyone?
I would add more like trick plays, right? And fun shit like we do, right? They added the Philly special. They added some stuff a couple years ago, but like I saw mobile added a couple also, like the annexation of Puerto Rico, right? If you want to add fun, like maybe don't make them super effective, but they would be fun and hilarious to do for like YouTube content, like right? I ran a game just having my center try and pick up the ball and run for a yard on the the Little Giants play or whatever it is. Obviously, I don't know how they can code that, but like there are so many more fun things they can do and add onto the game. Like they're trying that with the yard, but then we came out super disappointed that it's not 6-on-6, it's just 3v3 with 6 players on the field. It's just basically squads with no linemen. So like, I don't know. I think there's a lot of things they could do. They could add like mini games. Like they could add that shit back instead of solo grinds. We could do, hey, here's a 40-yard dash, get under a 4-5 in the 40, and now you get 1,000 coins.
We just
so
sit
like,
there.
yeah, exactly. Like there's so many different things, and we talked about right prior to this. We went over some FIFA upgrades and what they show with their foot, and it's been on my list for years. Is stadium upgrades, right? We talked about, so you're gonna hear it again, but they're not. This is the first time they're hearing it. But basically, like, if you win a Super Bowl in Ultimate Team, you can now hang a banner, right? I won an All Madden first Super Bowl banner hang in your stadium. You can upgrade your fans, and you could get more coins per game per win because you've invested to upgrade your stadium. Now more fans are watching, more gate revenue, that kind of shit. So they can bring a lot more RPG elements into the game. Like there's so many things they could add, and they added fucking D-line maneuvers as their changing gameplay, as their big thing, right? Like who the fuck says, oh, I want to use the D line? Like how many players did you play this past year that were on the D line? It was I played 2. Unless you matched up against Flight Reacts, you didn't really match up against D line users. So like it's so crazy they wanted to buff and add and put their people's time into doing something nobody really wanted to do.
I mean, I feel like the D line user thing is once again for the beginner. How about we're still working here. I feel like the D-line users are for, getting the new player there. That the beginner, I feel like that is definitely a marketing feature, beginner feature. Like, hey, pick up Madden. You don't have to worry about user lurking. Just get in the trenches and kind of, doing
But
that
who the
kind of
fuck
stuff.
wants to play? Like, no offense to D lineman and O lineman, nobody buys Madden to play as one of the hogs, right? You buy it to take over Lamar, Vic, Russell Wilson, Roger, like just the quarterbacks to sling the ball, make sweet plays, right?
No, absolutely.
Who the fuck's getting in there is like, I want to be a 350-pound fucking hog and push on another dude for a couple hours.
Absolutely.
That's just not fun. I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me that would be your marketing. That's what you'd focus on. Oh, sweet. That's really cool. I get to like jump in front of another guy.
I would love to. This should be a video for you. Also, I got a video idea. Go back and look at the marketing features of different Maddens over the years. Like a lot of the time, like those features are like just failures. Like it's just a little gimmick feature that they keep for like 1 year and then it's like gone. Real player motion, freaking the QB cone freaking thing that they did. I mean, there's been so many different ones that they've done over time, and that have just been.
I just pulled out some Maddens.
Here we go.
All right, physics you can feel. I don't know if you can read that.
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, so physics. All new Infinity Engine delivers real-time physics, and there's nothing else. Announcing team, connected career, better with content. That was 13.
Okay.
And connected career, trash. All right, that was an NHL game. Madden 10. Fight for every yard.
There we go.
Like, it's make every play count, extra point, online franchise.
And we got to fight for every yard. That was basically another new feature that they had to do now, because now we can finally stretch for the freaking goal line. They're like, oh, we fight for every yard. We forgot about the last yard.
Madden 07. All new lead blocker controls. I hated this game. This one might be my least favorite game of all time. It's because it's on this.
Lead blocker controls. That was like the worst thing ever. Clicking on your fullback and freaking sending him up the gap. Like, what is that?
NFL Superstar Hall of Fame mode. Superstar mode was kind of cool back when it was first introduced, but I don't know if this was the first year or not. Track career, or the Madden gamer level, track career achievements, whatever. Player-specific running moves, which is something else we're getting, this year.
Yeah.
With the journal and stuff, and they've talked about how much they're animating people differently and running. So they've been marketing the same shit for, what is it, 07, 14 years. Season begins in minicamp. Create a player, develop his attributes with skill-based minigames. So minigames were marketed here, and then they were taken out. Now
they're
maybe
back
we'll be
again.
getting some more. So
that's the EA special. Snap likes to talk about that a lot. Like, here's a feature, we take it away. Here it is again. Like, ta-da! It's special. But
the thing is, like, the community though, like, we rip them for that, but like we ask for that shit back too, right? I would be fine with mini games coming back, and I think we've gotten a couple back this previous year, but I never really played them. I might be wrong. But, like, so I don't mind this stuff coming back. Like, so, like, even though they recycle a lot of ideas, some of them are actually good and some of them make sense football-wise.
Right. I don't mind stuff coming back, but my thing is, like, don't take it away. Like, if we like a feature,
True.
Just keep it in the game. Like, of course, if they took away a feature that we like, of course we want it back. And to some people's mind, they're like, no, that's recycled. No, like, that's, I feel like a lot of the franchises' complaints. Yeah. I feel like I look at their list of, like, the 50 things they want added to franchise, and I'm like, bro, 10 years ago when I played that, like, I could do all of this shit. Like, what do you mean? And, like, so much of it they've just taken away. So, like, more new stuff, I hate when they reintroduce something again. They're like, it's new. Like, no, you're just finally bringing it back.
Madden 22 precision passing.
Right?
You heard it here first. QB cone. It's coming back.
The cone, bro. That was the worst thing ever. So, obviously, with more balance to the abilities, we've talked about the gameplay stuff, and obviously, without the answer just being more relative content and just more content, what would you like to see out of content? Is there anything, and I know you're a very creative person, besides just like stadiums, is there anything that you would like to see different within promos, how they do promos, roles, the sets? Like, do you have like a different idea that you would think like, I'd like to see this?
So, like, all right, power-ups right now are essentially useless. Everything you can do on a power-up, you can do on a base card, right? Speed chems, changing team chem, plus ones don't really matter that much in my opinion, except for speed, obviously. So, like, a lot of things you can do on the power-ups, there's no functional reason for that power-up existing. Now, in order to change that, the way I think they should do is a lot like what MLB did, a lot like what 2K did to start, is the prestige stat, the Evo stat. So, like, say on my Julio Jones power-up, which I can keep going all year with, is like, all right, say you get, like, 3,000 yards online with Julio Jones on his power-up. He now all of a sudden gets +2, +3 stats or something like that. I don't know how to balance it. That's just off the top of the head. So, like, he gets plus stats on his power-up, and you can keep doing that all year. So, like, prestige stats on power-ups is something that you could do. Whereas, like, if you get a card of Julio, it's something it would be harder to do, and then try and prestige them, and then you lose those prestige stats when you move on to the next Julio card. So that's why I think that could be power-up based to find a real function for it. Like, and they did a really good job this past year by adding more functionality, by changing the picture on the power-up, and that's something like more stuff they can do that's exclusive to power-ups that I'd want to see. So, like, more things like that. Maybe once you hit a certain milestone, if they don't want to give stat bonuses, they can give equipment bonuses. They can make your helmet and your player now have, like, gold outlines. You have gold shoes or whatever. So, I don't know, but that kind of gets into the marketing with the NFL and stuff, and I know they're very particular about certain color schemes. We saw that they took
the NFL be
ago.
Picky? Never. Never. No, like, even like that, like you said that, like, so, like, I've thought about, like, completely removing the power-ups, right? So, like, you would get the Julio, and you would then just power up the card itself. So, like, okay, I got base elite Julio, and he's an 85 overall. I can maybe get him to, like, an 86 or an 87 by completing online stats, computer stats, and that kind of stuff. But I also then would think about it like how you were talking about balancing it. Imagine if there was, like, 4 different categories, right? So, like, okay, I've earned an upgrade. So, like, you can either upgrade speed with catching and blah, blah, blah. So you get, like, 4 of them. That'd be +1.
Yeah.
Or you would do the next category, which would give you, like, acceleration, agility, catching traffic, and blah, blah, blah. Or you can do this one, which gets you, like, blocking, running, route running, and the different things. And you can have, like, 4 different choices of different stuff, and then you can kind of, like, upgrade yours a little different based on your scheme and do different scheme matches that way. But then when the new Julio comes out, you just can sell that Julio, get the new Julio, and then you would have new goals and moments and milestones to upgrade the new Julio if you just wanted those few pluses again.
Yeah, it was just kind of like, it's a lot like you're talking about, like, franchise does their upgrades now. Like, I thought even more, like, they could do, like, WoW skill trees if they want to do it like that. So, like, maybe you could add the speed, because we know how powerful speed is, but, like, on the skill tree, if you're going up it, maybe the less powerful abilities are on that speed skill tree. So, like, if you build up this Julio, and say you go for, like, the catching tree, all of a sudden now he gets the route catching abilities, which we know are super powerful, that allow them to actually catch the ball in traffic. So that way you might have to sacrifice your speed Julio to go with a more consistent Julio. So, like, there's a lot of things they can do, and they can take these things and ideas from other games, because, you know, World of Warcraft's, like, the most successful MMO of all time for reasons, and that kind of depth, and that kind of, like, you know, the small things matter, which is a lot of things that Madden overlooks. So, like, there's a ton of things they can do with power-ups and ability trees and progression, like you say, and then that you could carry it over too with the power-up. Like, the power-up expansion I thought was a great idea too. Why can't they do that? Say my Julio didn't get an upgrade in the month of October or November, then all of a sudden, okay, now he's going to catch up to the card. This is a new power-up expansion. You can use training to bring him up to a 94 overall or whatever it is.
Right.
So, like,
no,
tons of things they can do to add depth to this game.
There's a lot, and I hope they do add a few more things in there. And I think we're pretty much just gonna wrap it up there. We've been doing a lot of stuff, and I've been working with the different guys, and we're trying to keep these things condensed, because we know a lot of these kids. You guys have attention of, like, 3 minutes. So, like, if you're
I'm a goldfish.
Exactly. No, but I'm extremely excited to see what you have available and in store of next year. I'm gonna say this right now and kind of put you more on the spot. I know you're more of a private person. You kind of like chilling by yourself and staying, you know, in your own lane a little bit. But I would love, you know, once again, if things get hopefully safer within the world, but I would love, we do some community events. I would like to get you on bundle battles. I'd like to get you here, chill out, do some videos with CC and I, get you down this way here in Georgia. Maybe if there's EA Play, I would love to get you out to EA Play. I want to see some Gut Fox in the real world. That way we can get more feet pics and stuff like that also. So
Don't dox the fox.
Don't dox the fox.